Please welcome with me Janine Trakhtenberg from Across, and she will introduce us in our last session today at Adobe DITA World 2016 about the solutions from Across and how they deal with DITA content and FrameMaker. The stage is all yours, Janine.
All right, thank you, Stefan. So Across is the manufacturer of the Across language server. It's a market-leading software platform for all of your corporate language resources and translation processes. So within a very short time, the use of Across, it can increase your translation quality, your transparency, and while reducing your workload and process costs in the meantime. So within the scope of our product development, we're focusing on cooperative partnerships with renowned technology companies, language service providers, and translators. And just a tiny short bit about me. I come from a DITA content management background. I started with XMetal, and then I moved to Ixiasoft, and then I moved to language, just to make things interesting. So I'm really enjoying my time at Across, and we're headquartered in Germany, but I'm in sunny and warm Montreal. So this presentation, it's not about why DITA makes perfect sense and why it's a great thing to go for. It's also a presentation that's not about even why Adobe FrameMaker or their CMS or InDesign are also great products to author your content in and push it towards publishing. There's already been a lot of great presentations over the last 3 days at this first Adobe DITA World on these very topics. So I don't want to repeat what's already been done. This presentation is about not only making you the superhero on source language content, but making sure that all the work you put into this is reflected also in the many languages that the source content needs to be translated into. Because after all, superheroes have a global audience, and so should content creators. We all know that customers are king. But with the rise of the internet, customers all around the globe nowadays also expect to be treated like royalty. They want to have all the information available at any time, on any device, in the language of their choice. Why is that? Well, you're not going to buy what you don't understand, and you can't really use products that you don't understand. So success in the global marketplace today requires translating your content into multiple languages. And you need the right tools to achieve this with regard to both time, speed, quality, and your cost. So moving to a topic-based XML architecture, such as DITA, can further help you to control the translation process and save you money pretty quickly. Traditionally, translation management tools send the entire document through a translation process, and that includes the previously translated content. So although the translation vendor doesn't charge you for translating the content again, they do charge you for the processing to determine which content requires translation and which doesn't. So as companies are expanding into new markets that require deliverables to be translated into numerous languages, the costs for creating, translating, and delivering your content increase dramatically. So in addition to your processing costs, there are also costs incurred when you have to wait until the entire deliverable is complete before you can send it to translation. So if you're required to simultaneously ship all of your translated versions of the product, your company loses money for every week that the product shipment is delayed due to translation time. So instead of sending deliverables to translation, with DITA, you send the XML source file. And because you can better manage the translation workflow, you can send content for translation as soon as it's complete, regardless of the deliverables in which it will appear, as well as send only those files that contain actual changed content. So this flexibility allows you to better control your costs, reduce release delays due to translation time. But in the end, it's not all about island solutions or data silos or things like that. Really, it's about picking the best process and bringing methods and tools in line to achieve the best results possible. So let's take a look and see how you can push DITA content into all the languages you need as efficiently as possible. So those of us in the language and the DITA world, we often hear that users are afraid of DITA. They think it's complex and costly to implement. And as we've been hearing throughout this online conference, it's simply not the case. What I can tell you is that the translation side of things for Cross is out of the box and ready to use. So if you're authoring in an environment like FrameMaker and using InDesign or content management system, as well as your media asset data management, we have out-of-the-box integration. Us with these tools and FrameMaker works perfectly well with the cross-language server. Working as a true end-to-end solution with an easy plugin creates a true workflow, a customizational workflow, and a true end-to-end solution. And as I said, everything is out of the box. And in doing an end-to-end solution such as this, you increase leverage, you have automation through workflow, quality assurance, and increased security, all through working together. Now, when translating DITA projects, one can proceed in really one of two ways, both of which the Across TMS supports out of the box. Which project type chosen depends on your individual customer requirement. But when translating on a topic level, only the missing individual DITA XML files are pushed into the CMS, processed, and then they're pushed back. So basically, you're working on your English topics, and then perhaps you start with some French topics or some of your English files. As you're sending some of those English files to language server, while you're still working on the French, they come back. So you're finishing the French translation, everything's being done in parallel. It's a little confusing, for sure. But the advantages of this approach are it is fast, it's straightforward, and you don't have to wait while the whole DITA map is being completed to start your translation process. So you have a lot of pieces moving at once. However, there's disadvantages for sure, which is translators might be left with bits and pieces. They're lacking true context to do a really good, solid translation. Also, you might have issues with machine translation in this kind of way. And your process costs might be a problem when sourcing via your vendors that charge handling fees and fixed project rates. So you're not really seeing the true cost savings by doing translation on a topic level. However, translation on a DITA map level is a bit different. So the Across TMS aligns and sorts your individual DITA XML files based on the information provided in the map. Once the file is pushed through translation, providing the translators with all the context they need. Content that's already been translated in the past, therefore is reused and it's locked. The advantages for this way, there's context for your translators. You're not sending things too early. They're able to see the whole picture. And you also, the translation memory has the biggest impact if you're doing this at a map level. And as well, you also have your best cost-saving options. Like DITA, reuse is king. The disadvantages for this, there's not really any. It's just up to your organization to create a good workflow and stick to things like a DITA standard. So now to see our superheroes in action. Given the technical issues I've been experiencing today, we're going to go with screenshots. I don't want things to go wrong, so please keep in mind that after the demo, I'm more than happy to arrange a live demo, anything like that, anytime. So I'll be sure to give you my contact at the end. So this is where everything begins. This is where your authoring happens in FrameMaker. Luckily, the organizers at Adobe were kind enough to send us some sample DITA files to play with, as you can see. And on the left, you can see the structure of the DITA project itself. we chose to take out a little piece. You can see in the middle, legal. So that's what we're going to work with, and it's the file that we've picked. So this is just showing you how the folder structure looks in Windows. And this is our DITA project. You can see right there in the middle, below general description, that's legal. That was in the previous FrameMaker slide. But what we're going to do is we're actually going to translate the whole thing. So this is a cross-language server. This is how it looks. So after we've done the authoring in FrameMaker, the cross-language server picks it up, and we create a translation project and select the map that we want to translate. This is all done via automation, and again, it's out of the box. So a cross-language server is very user-friendly. On the left, you see what shows up in our dashboard. These are different dashlets. So your projects are here. Everything is customizable. It's movable. It works with the workflow that your company needs. You can have project management workflows. You can have translator. It's a very, I could go way more into Across, but we just don't have time today. So again, please follow up with me. But as you see, we've selected the document. So it's under user guide. That's where our legal is going to be. And for the purpose of this demo, the very user-friendly project wizard shows up, and you can add as many target languages as you like. We pretty much support everything, right to left languages, you name it, I guarantee we have it. Personally, I would have picked French here. I'm from Montreal. But given that my company is headquartered in Germany, we're going to go with German for the purposes of this demo. So as you can see in the project wizard, we are going with target language German on our documentation that was originally in FrameMaker. So we're just following through the workflow as a normal translator would. So a cross-language server makes sure that only those sections of the DITA XML files are editable by the translator. But we can also produce better pre-translation results, better than most TMSs on DITA files, because we know the sentence context, and we know the DITA tags used on segments. So for example, titles are only pre-translated with title, which brings more quality and therefore savings for you when you're sending along your content. Once your information is created and the project is created, it's a simple one-click assignment to your language service providers, your translators, your reviewers. You can see in the bottom here that we have chosen, we're going to send it to proofreader. We have our source language, which is English. We have our target language, which is German. All the rest is automated, which is the pre-translation, terminology management, term selection, your process, your QA checks, and your reporting. Even your user assignments, which provided you as a company have a process or a workflow process in place here, everything is going to be as automated as you make it. So this is when your project is in translation. You see you have your source language on the left, you have your German on the right. This is your full context, and your access to your translation memory is here. And then you also have access to terminology, which is in a tree, easy to find and navigate. And you have your access to your structural information. Translator is not bothered with any unnecessary information. They're just seeing what needs to be translated and what hasn't been touched before. And the pre-translated content is protected. You don't need to worry about it. As you can see here in the actual backend, it's just plain DITA. We haven't done anything to it, nothing magic. It's just including all of your necessary checks to improve its integrity. And as you can see, the translations are put right where they belong, which is right there. Very easy to see. It is plain 100% DITA. So if we go back to FrameMaker, which is where we started, We're all set. You can see that the German translation is inserted exactly where it should be, which is right there. So back in, you can see everything right here, tags on. This is the view that we chose just because it's easier to see in a demo. But you can go full DITA, you can look at every tag, everything you want. Now, just for a little something extra, because we are superheroes after all, you can have extra fun, and you can plug into our term base and translation memory directly into FrameMaker. So we can help you make the source content even more translation ready, which includes things like linguistic checking of style and of quality. And again, this is all out of the box. Better source content, which authoring in FrameMaker and working with DITA, it just equals better, faster translation, which in turn for you equal cost saving and less headaches for everyone involved. And given that we started late, time is running very short, but just to sum up, as I said earlier, superheroes in our industry have a global audience that demands our best and our brightest of plans and ideas. Working with FrameMaker and across in tandem provide context for your translators so that they see what they're translating real time. Seamless integration. We work with FrameMaker out of the box. We work with InDesign. You make your workflow. It's seamless for your translators, your project managers, everyone that needs to be part of the solution. Increased automation is huge. And as well, the workflow is customizable. It's very easy to do. We can show you in a live demo another time, and we can show you how easy it is to change the dashboard, see the project management view, things like that. But most importantly, time and cost savings all around for you. You don't need to spend money on things that have already been translated, things that have already been touched. And because of DITA, you have increased reuse and flexibility, and working with the across language server, it's just a true end-to-end solution. I'm gonna end there because we have used up a lot of time fixing things. But I'm very sorry that I rushed through this. I am in Montreal, and I would be more than happy to delve deeper into the across language server or our integration with FrameMaker anytime. This is how you can get a hold of me. And yeah, that's all I have, Stefan.
Okay, wonderful, Janine. Thank you very much. So I'm really happy that, that we could make it with this creative solution. So sometimes you have to work around technology. Let's stay a few minutes in the room, Janine, and wait if some questions come up. I see that 1, 2 people were typing. So if anyone has a question, please put your question into the chat now. Marianne is asking, are the memories you use XLIF files? Yeah, Marianne, XLIF is a format, an XML format that is used usually for converting source content to some to the XLIF translation format. The memories are usually stored as a TMX file or as a database. Most tools store it as a database, and Across is also storing it at a database. Janine, you have a server database, or how are you storing the translations?
Yes, in a server. It is a server database, that's true.
Okay, good. So multiple clients can always connect to the server at the same time and access one and the same translation memory.
Yes.
Okay, because in the previous presentation we also had someone asking, he was working with 2 LSPs, and both LSPs have their translation memory, and it's a challenge for him or her to sort of merge the translation memories and keep them in sync, and that's of course more easy with a server solution like Across, right?
Yes, that is a big advantage for sure.
Okay. Okay, I see a few people are still typing, so let's wait a few more minutes, Janine.
Okay.
Okay, there was, how are small sections translated and merged? Mamata, I'm I guess you're referring to sections in terms of the section element within a DITA topic? Yes, okay. My personal suggestion would be, from a DITA perspective, to use the translate attribute there, and this has the value yes or no. And then I would go for the root element of the topic, set it to no, and then go to the section element that should be translated and set it to yes, and then everything will be locked out from the translation. Across will recognize the translate attribute. And then you can use the, and then only the section will be exposed to the translator and translated. Is that correct, Janine?
Yes, I would definitely, in this case, stick with the DITA standard best practice.
Yeah, and that's the translate attribute.
With FrameMaker.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mamata is asking, is DTP work involved? Mamata, I guess you're referring to DTP after translation? Okay, yeah. Well, that's one of the big advantages when you work with FrameMaker then, because it's XML, and FrameMaker renders the translated XML, the DITA, the translated DITA that comes out of a cross-language server directly into the FrameMaker templates. And you might want to have, as always, have a quick look at the translated content in FrameMaker. Maybe you have very small tables with very small cells and very long Russian translated words, so you might want to hyphenate it or whatever. So it's always a good idea to have a last check. But FrameMaker renders the translation completely automatically, just in the same way it was in the source language. But of course, it depends on your template, how complicated it is, and so on. And you might want to tweak it here and there, because maybe a Russian translation is much longer than an English translation. But if you have a good template, normal standard template from FrameMaker or a personalized template, then it will render automatically. You will not have a lot of DTP work there, or actually no DTP work, but you still might want to check it as some sort of quality control. Okay, that's great. I was just curious to know, as I was interacting with the translators a lot. Okay, you're welcome, Mamata. Okay, I guess there are no more questions. Okay, so as there seem to be not many more questions, let me put on one more slide. Just a second. We're coming now to an end of Adobe DITA World. And the conference is over. That was 3 days of a lot of presentations, a lot of content, and it was all about DITA, all about Adobe solutions and partner solutions. And it was great to have you all in the room, and great to have you attending the conference. We are really happy about it, and we want to say a big thank you, Dustin and me. You can see Dustin on the right picture on top, and me on the left picture. We were both happy to have you all here. Thanks for being patient with technology sometimes, and thanks for staying with us for so long, for 3 days. It was really great to have you all here. And my personal thank you also to Dustin, who hosted the room with me and took care of the chat a lot and helped on a lot of technology problems for the speakers and assisted them and so on. So thanks very much, Dustin. It was a great pleasure to have you with me hosting the conference. And I'm happy that you're here, and happy that we had the presenters here. And before we leave, I see people are dropping out, so let me just share one very last thing as a small surprise, so to say. Just give me a second and you can get a sneak peek on something. See you at Adobe DITA World 2017. We have decided, after the big success of this conference, we had more than 1,300 registrations that have had hundreds of participants per session, and we got a lot of good feedback from the community, from all of you through email, in the chat and so on. So we've decided to repeat that conference in 2017, and it will be even better, even bigger, and cooler. So stay tuned, follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and so on. And let's make sure that that we all come together in 2017 again, and it was great to have you all. It was a pleasure for us, Marcia. Thanks, Roland. Thanks, Madeleine. Thanks, Sheila. Thanks, Pam, and Dirk, and June, and Mamata, Marianne, Richard. Thank you. Thank you, Dante. Yes, Mamata, I know. It's already 10 p.m. here in Germany, where I am, and I know it's 3.5 hours later in India, but we even had some guests from Asia, from Japan, and they're even much more later. Marianne said she will email you, Janine. Can you see the chat, Janine? You were typing. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm talking to people. They're sending me private messages. I feel the love. Thank you, everyone.